I want to share with you today about the power of sharing the gospel because the gospel is powerful to change lives. I was at work. I worked in a factory with about 1,200 men in this manufacturing factory, and we worked as teams together, so everybody got to know you quite well, and everybody on my shift and quite a few in the factory knew that I was a Christian because I was always telling everybody. Anyway, my good friend Phil, I was working with him for quite some time, and then I moved to a different part of the factory, and he was working with a chap called Mike. Now, Mike used to do boot sales and things like that, and buying and selling. And one day he came in, he was telling Phil that he'd got hold of a Ouija board, and they'd spent some time, him and his wife and a couple of friends had messed about with this thing, and he was telling Phil that it worked. And Phil, as a Christian, told him straight. He said, "You don't mess about with that. That's dangerous stuff. You're fitting with the wrong kind of spirit." But he wouldn't really listen. He said, "Well, you phone up Bob Saunders then and see what he's got to say." So he phoned me up, and I told him exactly the same, but a little bit more firmer. And but he said, "Oh, it's okay. I'll put it back into the cell and get rid of it." I said, "No, you won't, because I'm telling you, this Ouija board will do you harm. And if you sell it to somebody, it'll do them harm." I said, "Take it out in the garden and set fire to it, burn it." "Oh," he said, "oh." I know. I said, "Look, take it out in the garden and burn it." And the next day, he phoned me up and he said, I've done what you told me to do. You know, as Christians, we should be able to influence people around us for good, because these things are dangerous and these things can do a lot of harm. And so that's all part of being a witness, is standing up. It's standing up for Jesus in these situations. And people can see that. And I want to tell you about another situation that in the shift room where we changed from our civvy clothes into our work clothes. Everybody had their own locker and they kept their other bits and pieces in there. And quite a few had pictures of half-naked ladies on their lockers or on the walls. There's quite a few of those all over the place. And I didn't want to see that anymore. Once I become a Christian, I didn't really want to see that very much. And so in a particular section where I was, I took one down. And the chap, when he found out that I took it down, he waited till everybody was around, and then really had to go at me in front of everybody because I took this picture down. And that was the last we did 6 shifts, and that was the last one. And when I went back in several days later on the next shift, everybody had taken their pictures down. And the only one that actually did go back up was what this chap put back up. You know, we can make a difference. We can make a difference for righteousness when we stand up for things that we feel are wrong. And that's what happened here. You know, we need to put our faith and our love of God on the line sometimes. And people see when you do that. People see when you do that. So I just want to encourage you that if you're working in situations like I was in, and you're challenged by, the morality of what's around you, then don't be afraid of standing up for righteousness. Don't be afraid to speak out. Don't be afraid to be different, because being different for Jesus is a powerful witness about his love and how he's changed your life. So I want to encourage you to stand up for Jesus.